Welcome to Novel TV, where with the Sony Xperia Z2 and the Samsung Galaxy S5 in a comparison video. HTC One in the background, since we already did that. Those three, but actually these two I haven't done separately. So beautiful devices, all a little bit different, since we have with the Sony 5.2-inch screen actually versus 5.1-inch on the Samsung, for example. But on the Samsung we have the Android buttons here outside of the screen, and Sony has wasted space on the screen. So if I put exactly the icons here on the bottom next to each other, so they are on the same height, you can see that actually both have the same height in the display. So the different screen sizes on Full HD don't make such a big difference. Otherwise, software quite similar, of course. We have on both Android KitKat running. A few different features, like for example baby phone and stuff like that is on Samsung available, but Sony has a really great camera app with augmented reality and some other things, like for example free Michael Jackson album when you will buy it in the first month, and also really great multimedia store. If you open up on both the camera, you will see that especially the front camera, right now the Sony isn't the finished product, but I think they won't change the lens much. Here of course I'm a lot bigger and redder. Software wise, the autofocus or the auto mode will probably be changed, but here on Samsung you can see that it has a lot more wide angle. So if you want to shoot a lot of you want to have a lot of people in your picture, then you should probably take the Samsung. But if we go to the back camera, which you will use probably a lot more often, and that's why I actually have in the background here the HTC One lying around, you can see that they are both kind of similar in terms of wide angle, also in color. Similarities. The couch looks a little bit realer here on the Sony than on the Samsung Galaxy S5, but also the HTC is a little bit smaller on the Samsung, so maybe it has a tiny little bit more wide angle, but otherwise they are about the same. But what I find interesting is if I move the camera around, you can see that on the Sony it's a lot more real life like, and the Samsung is a little bit, I don't know, slower. Doesn't feel that great. So otherwise I can tell you a little bit about the technical details, like for example on the back this is glass, of course. Here we have the plastic cover which you can take off, and then you will find the removable battery 3100 milliamp, and here is actually 3200 milliamps inside as far as I know. But what's great about both waterproof smartphones is that you can charge this one wirelessly with an extra cover which you can buy, but for the Sony you only have to buy a docking station, and you can also charge that without opening up any covers, and you have to really watch out for not opening the Samsung cover also. But actually we have under here USB 3.0, while we have for the Sony 2.0 micro USB, but actually also inside the box for the Samsung is all a micro USB 2.0 cable. So we have on both micro SD card readers, so both 16 GB will be upgradable, so you can shoot beautiful long 4K videos. With the Samsung though only 5 minutes long. I don't think that the Sony has a limit on that, even though both have the same processor inside, on and off button, and everything else you can see on the side, which is also special on this Sony, is that we have a dedicated camera button, so you don't even have to press anything on the screen. Then here on the bottom you can see the differences on the other side also, and on the top both infrared and 3.5mm headphone jacks. What actually also is a quite big difference is that Sony has kind of like the HTC boom sound, so two speakers on the front so you can listen to music beautifully also in the shower, while Samsung only has it on the back here, a single mono speaker, or that can be also stereo speaker, but isn't as great as Sony with the dual front speaker. And actually the Sony is slimmer. If you look at it here from this angle, you can see that it seems a lot slimmer, even though it's actually taller. I can put both on top of each other, where you will see that the Sony is a few millimeters longer, which is, I think, not that bad or not horrible, but of course could be a problem for a few people. So one thing that I shouldn't forget is, of course, Samsung has a fingerprint reader, not fingerprint, a pulse sensor, so a heart rate sensor. I don't know how often you will use it. You can just buy a smartband by Samsung to have that feature, but the smartbands by Samsung only work with Samsung phones. But I don't think that's the main feature. Rather, dual speakers and 1.5 meter waterproof against 1 meter waterproof for half an hour is quite a cool thing. So if you want to see also a video about all 5 of these phones in a comparison, so HTC One, Z2, Samsung Galaxy S5, LG G2 and Apple iPhone 5, watch out 5S, watch out out my YouTube channel, or check out my YouTube channel, where we have more videos. This was just a comparison between these two. I hope you liked it a little bit. You can read a little bit more here in the description and in the comments about how other people think about these. Sony should come out end of April, beginning of May, and Samsung is coming out next week. So look out for these phones. All three of these also in a separate comparison video, so check that out also. Thank you much for tuning in. My name is Balazs. This was the Samsung Galaxy S5 versus the Sony Xperia Z2. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I can't say it often enough. And share also my videos. Thank you much for tuning in. And I hope you liked my content.